you see that we are the ones we have been waiting for? I mean, look at us, young and old, men and women. We are unified by disaster. Who would have thought that government officials, IPP trustees, or even councillors of the municipalities will be stuck together with us, ordinary people, depending on each other for survival?
Welcome to Climate Champions at Work. Sibambene, we are united. A 5-part podcast series sharing information, insights, and inspiration from the project fostering inclusive growth through climate change champions. Implemented by Democracy Works Foundation, the project aims to support collaborative partnerships between community-based organizations, civil society organizations, local governments, and independent power producers. In line with a just transition framework, the aim of our work is to use opportunities presented by international mitigation efforts for social and economic development and local adaptation initiatives. In the Northern and Western Cape provinces, people are already severely affected by climate change, though it is often not framed as such. Floods, wildfires, droughts, and heat waves are some of the impacts communities are struggling with, on top of persistent development challenges. Since 2021, Democracy Works Foundation has worked closely with local communities and key stakeholders to learn from and build capacity around integrating climate change challenges into the local government and private sector planning and decision-making. This podcast series is dedicated to the loving memory of Chrissy Williams, a tireless advocate for community welfare and a devoted climate change champion. Sadly, Chrissy passed away shortly after recording her interview. Sibambene means we are united. This is a story about community-based climate change champions in the Northern and Western Cape. In today's episode, our climate change champions hear from guest speakers and experts about developing and maintaining relationships with local municipalities, local government, and independent power producers. Linda Velum, from the Public Service Accountability Monitor, explains that the first step is to clarify what the community's climate change service requirements are.
We first need to know what it is that we want from the municipality. What in your projects, what do you want it to do? What is the service delivery issue that you want to address? Name it, put it on a piece of paper. What do you know about the human rights that the delivery of that service will address? As we know, we have our constitutional human rights.
Linda emphasizes that community-based organizations must actively participate in public participation structures of local municipalities, especially the Integrated Development Plan, also known as the IDP. The IDP is the local government plan which is meant to identify the development needs of the municipality. Community participation is very important.
We are not holding our elected representatives accountable for what they are doing with our vote, which is to practice oversight over the management of the municipality, and how then do we realize our service delivery needs. These are the spaces that one can participate in. Your ward meetings, that's a participatory space. It's legislated. And do not let it turn into a party political meeting. It's not a party political space. We are there to discuss issues of governance within our ward. We have ward committees. We have council meetings. How are you electing your ward committees? Are they serving your interests? And don't clump everything into one. Women, children, the people living with disabilities. Then it's youth. And what about climate change? Is there an interest group that is looking at climate change? So these are the things that we need to start changing within our spaces. The IDP Representative Forum. Do you have people that are sitting in on the IDP Representative Forum? It's as simple as writing an email to the IDP manager and saying that, please include me in the meetings. I want to bring up the climate change agenda. Who's the champion within your municipality?
Alongside holding municipal officials accountable, many civil society organizations find themselves filling in the gaps left by underperforming municipalities. Members of the community and CSOs play a crucial role in this process, says Thamsanqa Dlambulo from Mpumelelo Youth Movement.
There are also on the ground very important aspects of climate resilience that we don't take into consideration. Like in a mining area, there's a lot of soil that is being removed. So then you find that municipalities building roads, there's a lot of paving that's happening. So should a lot of rain come, there's then a big problem because then that soil is now eroding, and then the water as well, because of the paving and the roads, the water has nowhere else to go but to flow wherever it finds. So it flows most of the time to the people. So you find, Uguti, things such as soil rehabilitation need to be taught to our communities. And we also decided that it would be important for us as CBOs to champion that, because we know government is reactionary. We've already decided that government is reactionary. They're not going to do it. So us on the ground, community-based organizations need to do that and inform communities about important aspects such as soil rehabilitation and the planting of trees and crops. Because if you find there are crops that then counter things such as your flooding, you know, there are crops that absorb a lot of water. There are crops that share a lot of water. There are crops that keep a lot of water for a long time. So should you have those sort of crops planted in a strategic manner, and then it would lessen the opportunity or the chances of flooding.
Victor Sako from the Diocese HIV and AIDS Ministry points out that independent power producers, or IPPs in short, work with municipalities and suggests that NGOs and communities should build relations with both, because this will influence the local government socio-economic development agenda, which will benefit the community.
We need to align the activities of our individual organizations with the IDP priorities of your specific municipality, as to make sense and to be recognized within the municipality. Because it doesn't help us that we are not involved in these processes. The element of, as an NGO, making input in IDP planning processes, and even we are not part of the IDP representative forum at the local municipality. So I think part and parcel of going forward and dealing with this issue, since the IPPs are dealing with the municipality or using the municipality as a door of entrance, we should see how we can become part of that forums.
Emerentia Goliath from the Witzenberg Rural Development Center found that through her interactions with the municipality, that there may be a need for climate change skills development in the administration.
We met with our municipal manager to hear from them what is our municipality doing in terms of mitigation, in terms of climate change. Our municipal manager told us they are not doing anything. They think the municipality needs to do a lot, but they as workers, they don't really know what to do, because there is already policies and strategies in place, but nothing has been done.
But her organization has made some positive progress with the Department of Agriculture.
What we did with the Department of Agriculture, they will assist us with a proposal to distribute speckboom into our communities. So with the Yahoo department, we will do that sometime in September when it's Arbor Week.
According to local research, speckboom, also known as the bacon tree, helps to reduce the amount of greenhouse gas in the atmosphere. It's a natural way to combat global warming. Mumina Suleiman from Movement Against Drugs is a passionate advocate for spekboom planting.
I harp on the spekboom until the Almighty God can takes me to my eternal resting place. I've been invited to a summit from National that was Saturday. The Minister of Forestry, I think it was the Secretary under correction, was also there. I even told them, please bring this spekboom. And then I even go to the Radio Riverside. I want a slot on Radio Riverside every Thursday to move it against drugs as well as spekboom. I thank you.
For Emerentia and Mumina, implementing local solutions and working with the local government will strengthen their efforts to develop the community. Jolene Shaw is the General Manager of the Knowledge Bele business within Bele Energy Group. For her, partnering with independent power producers is vital for the community and climate change. Also known as IPPs, independent power producers have a lifespan of 20 years, and they are obliged to include community projects in their budgets annually. IPPs are required to offer socioeconomic development, SED, and enterprise development, ED funding, within a 50-kilometer radius of the IPP to support development in the communities in which they operate. This funding can unlock opportunities for civil society to influence the development of their communities. Jolene Shaw has experience as a development partner working with IPPs and implementing various projects in rural and peri-urban communities. She shared some of her insights on how civil society can improve the effectiveness of their proposals to receive funding.
Firstly, it's showing effectiveness in your expenditure, right? And what I mean by that is showing sustainability in your approach. And the outcome of this would be the long-term approach may have a deeper impact. So I know in some instances, people, IPPs especially, they want the quick fix. They want to see, where's my money gone? What is the impact? Can we have a graduation ceremony and, you know, we can all look good and take photos? But I think it's important to show, and especially at the point where we are in the industry, that your interventions actually will have a longer term impact and a longer term effect, and if you've thought about the expenditure that is required to realize that long term effect. And why I'm saying this is important is to my earlier point. The IPP office, the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy, are saying, what is the impact here? What are you guys truly affecting? What change are you truly affecting? So being able to say, this is the 6-month outcome, this is the 1-year outcome, this is the potential 3-year outcome, will go a long way in showing that you understand the development needs, right?
Jolene also stressed that CSO projects that do receive funding should have a good monitoring and evaluation system in place that will provide evidence of their project's impact and sustainability.
The next one is something I hear over and over again, especially at a board level. What is the impact, right? We've spent 100,000, 500,000, 2 million rand. Where has our money gone? What is the impact of the money? And this is something that we need to take very seriously because at the end of the day, an IPP has to report to government to say, we have spent this amount of money and this is the change that we've managed to affect within the community. So it's not, as much as the question might be frustrating, because from a development perspective, we know sometimes things can take a bit longer. It is something that they, from a compliance level, will want, right? So how can you overcome these types of challenges is to have strong M&E, again, and strong reporting, where it's not just saying, what you've done, but actually what has been the effect of what you have done. So to have succinct reporting that shows your impact. And obviously M&E plays a crucial role in ensuring accountability, improving program effectiveness. Again, to my earlier point, at any point you can stop and say, actually, this isn't working as well. Maybe we should try this. M&E helps with that. And then, of course, facilitating evidence-based decision-making. So if you're saying this has been the impact and this has been what we've been able to do, the IPP is more comfortable to make decisions on renewing programs or continuing along a particular investment theme, because they can see that it's actually worked and they have the numbers and the stories in front of them. Okay. And maybe just to emphasize on that, it's not just about quantitative or qualitative, but it is to show both. Show the numbers, but show the story as well behind the numbers.
Victor Sako says that it is essential for climate champions in the Northern Cape to form a provincial network as a platform for information sharing and networking opportunities when engaging with IPPs.
What we have already worked on, but we can definitely add on that and even cluster the IPP with a specific municipality and then with specific organizations in terms of the location, who owns the IPP. Because what we have also find is that it's a mean game. You will find that the holding companies, and then there are 3 other companies owning IPPs in the province, but it's the same big boss. So we also need to identify that. Also in which municipality, what area, and specifically to deal with the 80-kilometer radius issue. And then also if there is organizations that have already benefited from a certain IPP, that experience and engagement, I think, will help the rest of us to say that Mabatu is the CLO, this is a number, this is what she likes and this is what she doesn't like. I think we also need to agree that we need to be open now with each other in terms of information sharing and resource sharing.
Alongside building a provincial coalition to deal with IPPs, Tamsanqa explains that creating a climate mitigation and resilience campaign is not only important, it's urgent. He asserts that intergenerational knowledge sharing is an essential part of an awareness campaign.
What we also discussed yesterday and was very crucial was that we will include the vulnerable groups and the disabled as well in all this discussion. For example, like I mentioned that we have a discussion with an old age home. So what we would do then is the idea just pops up that we will then take youth to the old age home, go and have a dialogue so that we can then milk the wisdom from the senior citizens, because they were there before all the effects of climate change took place. They were the ones that were keeping gardens in their homes. They were the ones that were planting trees. They know what crops to plant when it's flooding, what crops to plant when it's a drought. Some of them experienced apparently there was a great drought between 1935 and 1940. Some of them experienced that. So getting that information as to how they went through that drought and how they survived will then be able to help us. Because if you go to a young person now and say, hey man, let's plant trees, he won't know where to start. So it'll help the young people to then milk that information from the senior citizens.
Whether you are an individual, organization, government, or business, everyone is affected by climate change. Everyone has a role to play. Everyone has a contribution to make. Building community and professional relationships and linking up with local government IDPs and IPPs will certainly further the goal of awareness and tackling climate change and its effects. In our next episode, we go deeper into how civil society can take advantage of the development potential of the renewable energy sector with its obligations to support local community development initiatives. Until next time, stay cool. This podcast is brought to you by the Democracy Works Foundation, with co-funding from the European Union. Its contents are the sole responsibility of Democracy Works Foundation and do not necessarily reflect the views of the European Union. For more information about climate change and how CSOs and local government officials can benefit from the just transition process, please visit www.democracyworksfoundation.org/FIGCCC.